here is the way we show up everywhere. So when we show up for someone as great as this, can you guys hear me on here? Yes. Okay. And you show up someone so great like this, how we show up here is how we show up everywhere. I want to tell you that this morning, like every morning, I take a few minutes and listen to a motivational video, and I pray and stretch. And this morning I was overwhelmed with gratitude that somebody would leave their family, their spouse, their two precious children, and their business and clients to come and pour into strangers that she may or may not know some of the faces. And I am such in awe of what our company does every single day and every single week for leaders like this to step up and say, what I've learned, I'm willing to give away and share so that you can be blessed too. That is a big deal, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So when I introduce her, I want you guys to give her the loudest round of applause we've ever given anyone, that we would give to even Gary Keller if he was here. And I want you to know that this amazing lady, Jordan Davis, has been in business for less than 6 short years. And Gary Keller tells us all the time, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. She has done an amazing job building a business and a life by design. She has been married for 12 amazing years. She has 2 amazing boys that are 5 and 8. And she is a mommy, a wife, a business owner, and she has built a big business. So I want you guys to give her the loudest round of applause that you've ever given.
Well, good news, I'm a walker, so even in the back, you're going to get to know me today. I will be meandering the hallways. I also had knee surgery 6 months ago, so it's probably a good idea to clear the way because it's actually my second, so I seem to be making a habit of this, so we'll try not to make it a third. Today, this morning, I'm here to talk to you about converting more leads and increasing your GCI with Keller Mortgage. Additionally, one of the things that our team has done is taking Keller Mortgage and has anybody read the book, The Obstacle is the Way? I'm friends with Lance Loken, and when I had my first knee surgery, he sent me that book like 2 weeks after. I guess he thought I'd still be at home, but I was already back at the office. Wow. Maybe that's why I ended up with a second knee surgery. But I read that book, The Obstacle is the Way, and right now one of our biggest obstacles is all these disruptors in our industry, right? So we've got all these iBuyers, Zillows and iBuying, Open Door, etc. So Keller Mortgage actually, after a family reunion last year, led us into a path of iBuying ourselves as agents. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Can you not hear me?
Just to let you know, you're on Facebook Live.
Okay.
Your viewing space is about right here.
Okay, cool. As long as they can hear me.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, when we talk about these disruptors, it led us to iBuying. So we'll be adding on and how we're using Keller Mortgage to do that. We'll be talking about converting leads. How do we lead generate as a team to grow our business? How do we close buyers? How do we close more commission on listings through Keller Mortgage? And also, how are we calling our database and sphere and adding value to them? So lastly, we'll cover iBuyers and how we're using Keller Mortgage to actually purchase properties ourselves that people are considering selling below market value. If we can achieve that in an hour, will that be a success? Yeah. Sweet. I sat in class 6 years ago when I started in real estate, and I sat through a terrible class where I learned nothing, and it was very evident that the person didn't want to share what they were doing and what was going on. And I swore to myself, if there was ever any chance, perhaps somebody asked me to speak to a class, that I would lay it all out there. So I promised to pack in some value. And they keep asking me to speak, so anyway. All right, well, my name is Jordan Davis, and I have the pleasure every day of waking up and leading the Davis team out of Dallas. We serve all of Dallas-Fort Worth. At this time that I finished this, we had it projected. We now know. We closed $45 million last year. It was 175 units for 2019. Up 122 the year before and 90 the year before that. So actually, since adopting Keller Mortgage, our business has grown proportionally, which is why I'm here to share with you. In 2018, we closed 42 clients with Keller Mortgage. 30 of those were our buyers. 12 of those were converted from our listings, meaning a buyer represented by another agency chose to utilize Keller Mortgage for the savings so that it didn't dig out of the seller's pocket. So we're going to be diving into that. We saved over $200,000 in unnecessary fees for our clients, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
So let's dive into, I'm going to talk a little bit today about some of these people up here, and quite frankly, I like to pay an ode to them because without them there nailing it, doing what they were doing, I couldn't be here. My phone would be ringing, it would be nuts, right? Running a business that we close 175 units, there's fires every day. Most of the time I don't know about them until the whole building's on fire. So this is Valencia to your left. She is our VP of Inside Sales. We have a VP of Operations. So everything is divided that way, and I'm the VP of Outside Sales for our organization until I hire that. We have another listing agent. Brian and I are the listing agents, 3 buyers agents, another inside sales agent or outside sales agent that reports to Valencia, and then our operations success team. We have a client care coordinator and a transaction manager. So that's how our team is shaped, and those are the fellas that did 175 units last year. So let's dive into today's material. Just kidding. Pretty please?
You gotta point it over here.
Here.
Maybe.
I think that works. Where'd it go? That's it, guys. Thank you so much. That's a great use of your time. All right, cool. So let's talk about what is Keller Mortgage. I think it's really important to dispel some of the rumors of what it's not, right? So they're not a new lender. They've been in business over 15 years. In fact, when Gary Keller was on a sabbatical looking for value to bring to agents, he actually stumbled upon an agent whose wife owned a lending company, and he was giving away the loan to his buyers for free in order to get more buyers. And Gary was like, that's brilliant. Can we take that to the whole company, right? And that birthed Keller Mortgage. So when we acquired them, they were already in business for 15 plus years, so it's not just brand new business that doesn't know what they're doing. Let's talk about what the savings is. It's no origination, no processing, and no underwriting fees. We're actually going to go through what those fees are, because I was like, what is an origination fee, like $100? Yeah, no. So they also give you a $1,000 credit at closing for loans over $150,000. So if I have somebody who is buying a $155,000 house and they're going to put down $8,000, I may encourage them to put down a little less because you get that $3,000 if you meet that $150,000 loan value threshold. We'll break that down in a minute. Competitive rates. In fact, my husband and I accidentally bought a house last year. In real estate, you know what that is, because you put in a really low offer on a home that's been on the market 2 years and they take it, even though you asked for all the furniture and pool table and everything, and you're like, oh, I guess we're moving. So we've also bought 2 investment properties last year because we don't slow down. And we shopped 3 different lenders all 3 times. Keller Mortgage won on rates and on closing costs every single time. So we use them on every single one. In fact, for the later half of today, I actually have our settlement statement from one of our investment properties that we walked through, and you'll see Keller Mortgage on the top of it. So I practice what I preach, right? And they do loans as low as $60,000. I taught this in California, and they were like, is that a car? You mean your car? And all the way up to $3 million. Yeah. 600 minimum credit score, and it's available to Keller Williams, our buyers, and the buyers of our listings. It's also available to us, and really our friends, family, and anybody that goes through us to access it. So let's talk about how much are they saving. Single most important slide you could take a picture of today, because yes, this is available on your app. Yes, we got some college kid who knew how to do toggles to create it for our personal website. When Keller Mortgage saw it, they were like, that's awesome. Can we launch that for the whole business? Or the whole Keller Williams? We're like, sure. It's also the thing that tends to go down the most when you're at an open house and you have low cell service. And so my Facebook will blow up of people being like, how do you calculate that again? So, and one time they just played with me and took it off the app for a while and my phone blew up. So this is a great slide so that you understand what the savings is as you go to advertise it at your open houses. So origination fee, how to learn, is 1% of the loan amount. If we purchase a home at $300,000 and put down 10%, then they're going to loan $270,000. So then that origination fee would be 1% of just the loan amount, not the full purchase price. you with me? Nodding heads? Okay, cool. And so $2,700 is that origination fee. Little did I know, I thought it was like $500 just out there selling real estate. Processing and underwriting fees are $1,500 on average. We took a look at what is the average, what does every state charge to get to what would be about an average to come up with this, and $1,500 is the closest we could get. Plus a $1,000 credit. So on this example, the $300,000 home, $2,700 origination fee. Of course, they meet the $150,000 borrowing, right? And so they're going to qualify for that credit of $1,000. So that's how we came up with a savings of $5,200 on here. Does that make sense? Yes. Any questions? No. I know it's like third grade math, but still. It's been a while. We got to dust our brains off. What?
We only usually know how to calculate 3%.
Yeah. Not a favorite answer. I don't know. I don't know the rest. Okay, cool. So again, I'm going to talk about the goal for today. We're going to talk about how we're marketing the product to drive more leads, because if you can't take this and go out and get a deal today, then I have failed. Scripts to convert the leads once they do come in and say, hey, I want to use that thing. And then scripts for overcoming commission objections. Lastly, we're going to get into action. Get it on your app and share it with somebody today. You know, when I first learned about Keller Mortgage, it was actually, guys, almost 3 years ago, which is crazy. And Smokey Garrett is our OP and regional director. We were in a mastermind, a top 100 mastermind for his region. And I was on the way, I was driving there, and I had a $500,000 listing, which y'all are with me. Like, our average price point is $275,000, so $500,000, even back then, our average price point was like $220,000. $500,000 was like almost 3 deals, right? I told this in California, we're like, oh, it's just $500,000. So we had a deal that was falling apart. And it was a yours, mine, and ours situation where they were getting married. And so we're about to close in a week, and the other agent calls me and says, hey, I just found out that they actually have another home to sell, that they really need to sell in order to free up enough cash to close this. And we just learned about this. Otherwise, we're $10,000 short. Well, what happens in that scenario? I'll give 1%, you give 1%, we'll close the gap of the $10,000, close this in a week, right? So I was like, all right, well, let me think about it. I'm going into this. I can't be late, and then we'll talk. So I'm sitting there, and Smokey brings up Keller Mortgage and talks about the savings and how much the savings is. And I literally get up out of my chair and leave the room. I actually leave the building. I just left. And I give the lady a call, and I said, I know this is kind of a Hail Mary, but I think I have something that can work. So I told her it's no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus a $1,000 credit at closing, and I think that could bridge the gap of about $8,000 of what we need to get this deal done. Would you be willing to would your client be willing to at least give the people a call? She's like, I love that. That sounds like a great idea. How do I get in touch with them? And I was like, I didn't stay that long. So I called Smokey, and if anybody knows Smokey, he's like, hey, you good? You good? We're good? Are you? Everything good? I'm like, no, we're fine. I just think I can use this to save a deal. So anyway, we figured out how to get a hold of Keller Mortgage, and it was that ever since. In fact, it saved the deal. The client saved $8,000 in unnecessary closing costs. They got a lower interest rate. They were so thrilled with it. They're like, we can come up with the rest. Let's move forward. Switched to the Keller Mortgage, closed in 2 weeks. Phenomenal. So, cool. How are we marketing the savings to bring in more leads? So there's door knocking. We advertise specifically to renters. There's 3 reasons people rent, right? So they're transient. They're only in Houston for a couple of years. This was the case when I lived in Miami. Nobody there from there made friends with people who weren't from there because they knew they were moving in just a couple of years. So they're transient. But here's the great news. Texas is a great place to have an investment property. So we can help them for less money, less cash, get into a property that when they move, they can keep here as an investment. It's a great chance to door knock them, have a conversation, and see if it's something that would work, that you could create a deal where they thought they were just renting until they got relocated to their next place. We also find that they have had a foreclosure or credit issues or something like that in the past. Hey, that may not be a great situation for Keller Mortgage because, quite frankly, with all the volume, they don't have time to nurture and babysit. But what a great opportunity for somebody else local that you have a relationship with that you love and trust. And we'll talk about local lenders and how to keep that relationship and make sure everybody feels nice and fuzzy when we talk about Keller Mortgage. And the last reason we find is that if you're like my mother, by the time you saved up for a down payment, you just didn't have the money for closing costs, right? I mean, it's 3, 5, 10%, whatever your down payment requires, and then you find out that there's closing costs involved. And in this market, many times you can't get closing costs, or it limits the home that you can get because you can't afford the closing costs because everything you want is in multiple offers, right? So this gives a great solution. Hey, listen, if you've got your down payment, I've got you on the closing costs. We can make this work. So now we're making deals, especially in these winter months when things are a little bit slow. So we door knock specifically to people whose houses have been rented out in the last year, which you can pull from MLS. We have sign writers. We ran a side-by-side analysis of special financing versus Save Thousands No Lender Fees. Both were offered. I'm the type of person that I drive until my gas tank is like E, and then I know I've got 30 miles. Yeah, right? My husband's like, oh, we're at a quarter tank. Oh, we need to stop. I'm like, no, we're like another 100 miles. We're good. But he measures everything, and everything is very safe, and he plays it safe. I really don't know what he was doing marrying me. I'm not sure if he knew either. But he ran a side-by-side analysis on all of our listings, and similar profit, similar price ranges, and similar areas, and saw which one caused people to pick up the phone more, and special financing got the phone to ring more. In fact, we saw a 20% increase in sign calls when we used special financing.
Versus the Save Thousands?
Versus no rider at all. Okay. So special financing fared better. I'm not sure how Save Thousands No Lender Fees fared. I'm sure if I called him, he could tell me to this day, 3 years later. Yeah, he's a high C.
You door knock what specific demographic you said?
Renters.
Okay.
So I looked on MLS. If I had a listing coming and I wanted to see if somebody was interested in buying that listing, we would look at rentals in the area. Yeah. So, cool. All right, so sign writers. The other thing that we did that I want to touch on is we went to our board of realtors and we got approval to put special financing available in the property description. So they said that we could do that as long as we attach the flyer. Let's see if I have that flyer. It's somewhere in this presentation. I'll point it out when we get there. That just basically says Keller Mortgage, a better deal or a better savings, something like that. You can find it on the Keller Mortgage website. It briefly explains what the savings was. And our board felt like it was perfectly fine to put that there's special financing available. Just like if you had owner financing, you could advertise that, right? So you have a way that buyers could save money. It's not exclusive to our buyers because it's available on our listings. So anybody in MLS can utilize it. And they were comfortable with that. So we started putting special financing available into our listings before they went live.
Quick question on that.
Yes.
Do we need to get special permission from HAR to do that?
Yeah, you probably would need. Now we do put it in HAR. We have access to HAR.
Leadership will call and do that for you. That's a great idea. We'll call and start working on that.
Yeah, with the board. And so what we do is, on our team, open houses are a big success for us. In fact, they make up 33% of our business. And so we put, anytime there's a new listing or a price reduction, the open house goes in before the price reduction or new listing gets put in. So if you have a team and buyer's agents who work open houses, we make sure that when it syndicates to all the portals, that the open house is tied to it because we want to direct traffic to that open house. Additionally, the special financing, enough people have called the other agents and were, on Zillow or whatever and said, what's special financing? And they said, I don't know, let me call the listing agent. And they said, you're not the listing agent, right? That they said, forget it, I will just come to the open house where I can talk to the listing agent directly. So we've driven more traffic to our open houses as a means of doing that. Once you get there, there's going to be a savings signs around the open house. In fact, we created this one. We just made it and sent it off to a company called Signazon. And it says, save blank on this home, call us today to get started saving thousands. We put that on laminated. It's a huge 3-foot by 2-foot sign. That's going to be at the front porch when you walk up. So we are talking about Keller Mortgage. There are no bones about it, right? So save blank on this home. That's dry erase, and they can take their dry erase marker and put in how much the savings is going to be. So it can vary based on the house they're at. You could also leave this by your for sale sign in the yard if you wanted to. We don't, but it's certainly something you could do. We also reduce the size of this into an 8.5 by 11, put it in a picture frame. The agents then can take their same dry erase marker, put the savings. We put it in the master bath and in the kitchen because those are the 2 places that buyers spend the most time when looking at homes. And here's how I see what this has done. Follow me. Anybody ever been jean shopping recently? So, we go jean shopping. My father-in-law calls it closet shrinkage. When you put your clothes in there in the summer because you don't need any more, and then you go the next fall or winter to dig them out, and they're smaller. It's that weird closet shrinkage that it does. So you gotta go jean shopping, and maybe you do it online, but let's say you go into a department store, right? And so you go in and you need jeans, and I don't care if you've just come from church, I can prove we're all liars in here. You walk in and the lady says, "Are you looking for something in particular?" And you all say, No. And you're liars, right? How do you feel about that? False and equals and I award. I'm just kidding. So we all lie, right? Like, we don't want to be bothered. The game is ditch the salesperson. Okay, let's go back to open houses. Same thing. Hi, are you looking for a house today? Are you in the market to buy a home? Just looking. Oh, really? You like to tour dark homes when it's beautiful outside? Oh, okay. I like just standing in homes while it's beautiful outside. I'm actually not here looking for buyers at all. So they do the same thing. So then you go and you get the jeans, right? And oh my gosh, jeans have changed. I heard bell bottoms are coming back. So you've got like boot cut and skinny leg, bell bottoms, and God forbid high-waisted came back. I think everybody who had a baby should be absolved, right? That's a terrible idea. So all these jeans, and you've got the few that you want to try in dark and light, and there's all these options, right? And so you take it, and you need the dressing room. But you go to the dressing, and you find out that it's locked. Now who do you need? That lady you lied to. And you have to stand there with your stack of jeans, having been a liar, right? And she knows you needed jeans and you didn't want to tell me, right? But that's the key. She has the key to the door. To me, Keller Mortgage is the key to the door. They don't want to talk to us. We're another realtor. In fact, the National Association of Realtors says that on average, home buyers go look at 11 open houses if they do shop open houses. So what are you saying different than the other 10? This is the kitchen. Wow, thank God you're here. The refrigerator didn't give it away. I don't know what we do without you. Right, what are we saying that's different? Do you own a dog? This is a lovely backyard. Like, how are we building that rapport? Versus if you come to our house and I say, hey, I can save you $5,200 on a home or one like this. Would you like to have a conversation? Wow, yeah. A whole different ballgame. I hold the keys to the dressing room, right? You need me. So we found that our agents have a line waiting for them. They want to know, how can I save this much money? So once they're there, and we have a script for it, they say, I see the savings of $5,200 on this home. Can you tell me how I can save this? Yeah, certainly. We have an in-house lender called Keller Mortgage. They're affiliated with Keller Williams. They waive all lender fees, origination, underwriting, and processing. The way they do that, and I'm going to give you guys these scripts. I don't like to give them to you now because I don't seem near as brilliant if you read them. But the way that we can do that is that we basically, by going straight to the realtor, go straight to the consumer, we can get rid of the marketing fee, and therefore we don't have to charge those back to the consumer. Because they're like, oh, the rate must be jacked up. No, actually, we've shopped them, and most of the time they beat rates. But I encourage you to shop 2 or 3 lenders. In fact, I'll give you a few to shop. So that's the way that we can help you save thousands, put more money back in your pocket. Maybe it gives you more buying power or it helps you buy sooner. Either way, it's there for the consumer. We do just listed postcards. We do social media posts. We love to do posts like this one. We just saved blank with the 0+ loan program offered exclusively to clients of the Davis team and Keller Williams. And so we have these big signs. So here's the thing on social media. You could say all day long till your face is blue that you saved people money. We've heard that. We're over it. It's the same as your team leader can say till her face is blue, like, go out and lead generate. And you're like, yeah. But then an agent comes and says, I lead generated and this is what I got and this is how I got it. And everybody's like, this is brilliant. And the team leader's like, I said that 1,000,000 times, right? Same thing with our clients. We can tell them, I can save you money. But until another consumer says, I can save you money, they're like, really? Brilliant. How? It's that believability, thinking they have something to push, an agenda, something like that. So when we can get the client to say, we just saved blank on a sign in front of the home they bought, if somebody's thinking of home buying or selling, they're going to stop scrolling when they see that house, a family in front of it, maybe a sold sign, and then they're going to read your sign. We saved blank with them. And then you've got our contact information, right? So great way to stop the scroll. We also do bridal and craft expos. This is kind of cool. Our team, we set up at a bridal expo. It was, I don't know, like $800 or something like that for the day. We had 150 registrations, 12 people, nurture, and 5 appointments just from that bridal expo for 3 hours. We handed out water. Apparently it's $3 a pop, which is highway robbery. And so we gave it away for free. And people were walking around with our koozies that talked about the savings with Keller Mortgage on it. Because there's the mother of the bride who just became an empty nester. There's the sister who's married and pregnant. Always someone ends up being pregnant in that huge dress that looks massive at the wedding, right? And they need to upsize. And so all, because brides don't come by themselves. I got married 12 years ago. I know, I was like a child bride. Not really. I was 22. But I got married 12 years ago. And it was just like me, my mom, my dad, not a big thing. Oh no, y'all. There's like, if you have less than 14 people, like, you are shamed in the bridal expo. So all 13 other people have home buying and selling needs, right? In fact, probably one in each of those crews has something that they need. So we gave away a ton of giveaways. They could register and get something for their friend. Like, for example, we did a free engagement shoot. We did a free bouquet when you bought all your floral arrangements with them or whatever. We got people to donate to it, right? So we had all these 6 giveaways and everybody was registering for it. One of them was 10% off moving. Because something like 80% of engaged couples or married couples, the day they get married, will buy or sell a home the year before or the year after their wedding. In fact, we had a girl joke and say, I love wedding expos. You get them, there are 2 homes they need to sell when they're getting married, and then you get them to buy together, and when they get divorced, they sell that one and buy 2 different ones. Like 6 for the price of one. But we're doing all these giveaways, and one of them is 10% off moving. So here's the cool thing. Our mover gives us 10% off for any client that says our name, right? And so that gave us a chance to call everybody, because nobody likes to be called and be like, hey, you lost, but would you like to buy a home? That stinks. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, you won. Where can I send your gift card, your coupon? So we called everybody, told them they won, and found out, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? It was a great way to add 150 people to our database. 3 hours, probably a couple hours worth of work leading up to it. You don't have to have as cute of a booth as we did. The key is getting out of your booth. There was another realtor there that was like, this one was horrible for me. How about y'all? And we're like, I mean, like 150 registrations. But she sat there like she was here for a class, right? And so there's a difference between, you can see here, we're out working the craft, right? And talking to them and bringing them in and getting them to register and getting some excitement around it. So we used Keller Mortgage. We talked about the savings to give that hook. I put on a business card that we could save you $2,500. And it says in there language about when you use our in-house lender, but I thought, man, if somebody said, I got a cash deal, you told me you could save $2,500, I wasn't willing to put $5,000 on a business card. So put $2,500, it was enough for them to keep and call us back. Converting more buyers, we talked about the script. Our average savings is $5,000 per client. There's another cool thing. Appraisal is ordered day 1. And if it doesn't close, you don't pay for that appraisal. That's amazing, y'all. Buyers have written so many checks by the time we get to that point that they're like, another check? Are you kidding me? So, yes ma'am.
I just called my guy at Keller because I have a situation where they may not close. And he said the client will have to pay for the appraisal. Is he wrong?
That shouldn't be correct.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
But I mean, I'll ask, but that should not be correct. I would take that to the manager.
Absolutely.
But yeah, typically they shouldn't have to pay for appraisal. In fact, I had a deal that was falling apart. I have a lot of deals falling apart. Not really. I'm teasing. But I had a deal falling apart a couple of years ago, and I represented the seller. We listed it for $300,000. We ended up getting a contract for $290,000. Winter, a little slower market. We got a contract for $290,000. Awesome. I called the other agent. They asked, well, what is this Keller Mortgage stuff, or what is this savings about? I said, oh, it's Keller Mortgage. It's no origination, no underwriting, no processing, plus $1,000 credit at closing. Is that something you're interested, your client would be interested in calling? And she's like, no, thanks. We hate saving money. And I said, okay. And so, I don't know what she said, but she went with the other lender. And so anyway, she called me to be like, hey, appraisal came back, it's 270. And I was like, I can't cover that $20,000 spread. I don't know. I'm out. And so I said, hey, remember when I called you and I told you it was conventional? Remember when I called you and I told you about Keller Mortgage, no origination, no underwriting, no processing, plus $1,000 credit at closing? And you're like, no, we hate money. Remember that? And she's like, yeah. And so I said, if they would be willing to give it a shot, they could go through and Keller Mortgage will reorder the appraisal day one. If they don't close, they don't pay for that appraisal. So it's no skin off the buyer's back. But right now, everything's gone and nobody's getting what they want, right? So they said, okay, let's give it a shot. So they did. Appraisal came back at $280. They ended up saving $5,000 in closing costs. They split the difference. They paid $282.5. Everybody was thrilled to death. And everybody got the deal closed, and no realtors came out of pocket. No realtors were harmed in. So that's great. That's awesome. In fact, I've had buyers who say, well, I have a lender that I really like. Can I take this deal back to him? I'm like, sure. They're like, oh, well, my lender matched it. So I told the president of Keller Mortgage that. I was like, how do you feel about that? Some lenders are just matching it. She's like, did you get the deal done? I said, yeah. She gave me a high five. Oh, okay, cool. They just have this mindset of abundance, right? There's more than enough business to go around, so go take your territory, go get your business. They'll end up with some of it. They're not worried. In fact, a market center that has an MSA with a lender hopes to get y'all like 8 of your deals a month. Am I wrong? Like they're doing this MSA and they're hoping to get like 8 deals a month. So we're not taking from anybody, right? So if anybody has that icky feeling, we'll address lenders in a minute. So land more listings and protect your commission. So I have a great commission reduction objection handler. That's a lot of IONs to end. So basically, what I'm going to show you is a video. I had the opportunity with Smokey Garrett to go on stage and talk about the value savings with Keller Mortgage. If some of you were at family reunion last year, that's when that was. And so had the opportunity to go up there, and no matter what, I was getting to this script because I thought this was a huge value and showed a different level of thinking about Keller Mortgage that a lot of agents weren't thinking of. And I'm going to play it for you in just a minute. But essentially what we're talking about is if somebody says, hey, I'm going to sell and buy with you, will you reduce your commission? And most people, say, I have a friend who said they would reduce their commission, right? And so this is a way of showing how actually through Keller Mortgage I can save you more money than reducing my commission. So let's play that.
Opportunity to get creative with this tool. I say tool because it's not just a lender. It's a tool in your tool belt. So one of my favorite scripts is on listing presentations when somebody asks you to reduce your commission because they're selling and buying with you. I mean, every realtor has heard this. The script is, here, let's say you're the seller, so you ask me to reduce my commission by 1% because you're selling and buying. So Gary, can you tell me what's important about that too? Okay, cool. So very many of the sellers that choose me are just like you. They want to save money. And if I can show you a way that I can save you more than that, but still take home what I need in my family, will make sense to go ahead and sign the paperwork tonight. Okay, fantastic. So through our 0+ loan program, I can get you no origination, no underwriting, processing fee, plus $1,000 credit at closing. Gary, that's going to save you $5,200 on that $300,000 home you're buying. Wow. And actually, if you go ahead and sign the paperwork, I'll put that same offer on your listing. And that means that your buyer, because as we know, days on market have gone up in the FW. That means your buyer can get the same deal. So they're not going to ask you to do those closing costs. Gary, that's going to save you $4,200. So now I've shown you how to save $9,400. That other agent offered to lower the commission. They've already shown you their negotiation strategy. Do you want to sign in blue or in black?
You're impressed.
Focused on what he was getting.
Yeah, we're not worried about what I take home. Let's talk about what
You turned it back on.
what's the motivation? Why is that important? Yeah. That's my best stall question. Why is that? Can you tell me why that's important? Yeah. Pretty sure if Matt were to come to break up with me today, I'd be like, can you tell me why that's important? Auto. That's freaking me. What else? What else did you hear?
It's all about the numbers for them, and you made it very visible and obvious that you're gaining more, not just coming after part of my 3%.
Yeah, I don't have to lose for you to win. Yeah. You also see, you hear a solutions-based agent who looks for solutions and doesn't just lower the price. I didn't add this one in, and this is the one step I missed was, you know, somebody who negotiates in lowering the price, I alluded to it, is just gonna ask you to do the same when we need a buyer, right? But I'm gonna show you that I have other tools and strategies to make this work. So, yes, sir?
How did you save the 4,200?
By making it available on his listing. So, I was talking about how days on market in DFW is going up, and a lot of buyers are asking for closing costs. And on his listing, he won't have to pay those closing costs. Yeah. So that's $5,200 when he purchases, $4,200 potentially on the sale of his property. But if his property were $200,000, that other agent offered $2,000. I offered anywhere from $5,200 to $9,400. So even if they don't end up needing that, it still was a savings over 4 times savings, right? So okay, cool. So add value to sphere and past clients. Anybody in here in Bold 2.0?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, cool. We've got some Bold 2.0s. Cool. So if you're like me when you took the original Bold and you heard the script and it was like to call your friends and be like, "Hi, Susan, this is Jordan, this is a business call." My friends would punch me, like come through the phone and punch me. I was like, that feels so awkward, right? And so I was like, how do I reach out to my database? How do I have a conversation? How do I add value? And Keller Mortgage, you're going to see that this is woven into the fabric of who our team is. It's a phenomenal solution to make things work, right? And so we call our sphere and past clients, and you'll get a script for this too, and just say, hey, Lauren, I was just looking at your house. I noticed you're coming up on your 4-year reunion or 4-year anniversary. That's exciting. I was looking at your home's value, and I noticed that it actually is worth about $100,000 more. You bought it $150, it's worth like $240, $250 now. Have you ever considered refinancing? And Lauren actually said, well, yeah, actually I have. And I said, well, if you did, what would you do with that money? And she said, well, I would renovate the kitchen. And so I said, oh, well, that's cool. Like, I'm going to sell that home someday. So now I get a nice renovated kitchen to sell, right? So that works for me. And so I said, well, what if I could tell you about a lender that waives origination, underwriting, and processing fees, plus gives a $1,000 credit at closing, and has insanely competitive rates that you could refinance through so that you're not penalized when you pull out that money by having to pay back closing costs or wrap up closing costs in the loan, right? I remember when my dad refinanced when I was a kid, and he said, yeah, so in 6 months I'll be ahead. And I was like, what does that mean? You know, because his interest rate he was getting, by the time what he was paying monthly, it would offset the closing costs. Well, in this case, there are no closing costs. So that's awesome. So it doesn't take all that time to get ahead. So in doing that, we would be able to save Lauren $4,500 in her closing costs. She was going to liquidate. In fact, she liquidated $80,000. Well, obviously, she didn't do an $80,000 kitchen reno, or that would be like, I mean, it's a 1,900 square foot house. Come on, right? And so I said, so I understand you're probably going to put $15,000 or $20,000 into the kitchen. What are you going to do with the rest of the money? She said, I hadn't really given it thought. Maybe put it in the kids' college or pay off some of my dental school debt. And I said, all that's great. You may have some left over. In fact, we come across properties because we go on 175 listing appointments a year. We come across properties with distressed buyer or just distressed sellers or distressed owners that need to get out from under it. Would you be interested in siphoning off about half of what you're going to be getting from the equity of your home? And if I come across a great investment property, I can help you get into that. Do a 15-year note, get somebody else to pay the note, and in turn, it actually will pay your boys' tuition in 15 years when they're at A&M. I didn't wear my rings. I forgot both of them, and my earrings and everything. But anyway, and so Lauren actually did that. So last winter, she became an investor of ours, and we helped her purchase a rental property, find a tenant, etc. But that's helping build long-term wealth, and honestly, that's what we're here for. Even though, yes, we're very well versed in calculating 3%, we're really here for building wealth for our clients through real estate, through our team members, for ourselves, right? That's the point of this. And so what a great opportunity to set her and her kids up for a great financial future by coming from that value added. Okay, so let's pretend Lauren said no, and we didn't go down that whole track, right? And I said, would you be interested in refinancing? She said, no, we're okay. We're doing some other things, whatever. Okay, great. Do you know anybody else that's looking to buy, sell, or invest that I can keep from paying unnecessary fees, right? So it's great, I've added value, and now I can ask for the referral because I've come from that contribution. And so, listen, everybody has a realtor these days, right? You go to work or whatever, you go to the nail salon, she's a realtor. And so we've got to be adding value. And if somebody says, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house, people, like, they won't even have their bags with them. I don't know where they pull these business cards out of. And they're like, I have a realtor, you know, and they can hand them a business card, right? And so we've got to be saying something or giving our people something that sets them apart. Hey, my realtor helped me save $50 to $100 when we purchased the home. But are we communicating that back to them? Do you understand that by using us, you save $50 to $100 in purchasing this home? So that they can turn around and communicate that to their friends and family. So those are all great value propositions. In fact, with Lauren, I told you we saved $4,000. She took out $80,000. We saved $4,000 when she took that out. We saved $4,000 on closing costs when she bought that investment properties. We saved her $8,000, which was 10% of the money she took out. That's awesome. Yes,
So
ma'am.
do they not have to have the $150,000 loan when they refinance?
That threshold. Yeah, they've got to finance $150 to get the $1,000 credit.
So she had that left on her house to refinance?
Yeah, and you've got to leave 20% in.
Okay.
Her home was worth $240, so she had to leave $48,000 in, finance the rest or whatever. Yeah, so she still met that threshold of $150. Okay, let's see. So what about other lender relationships? Who has a lender that they love, know, love, and trust? Who feels a little icky for even being in this conversation? It's a safe place. It's okay. So I sat my lender down when I learned about Keller Mortgage because I was about to go on blast on Facebook because I knew my database, like, this was going to be awesome, right? And so I sat my lender down for lunch. His name's James, and I said, hey, James, first of all, I know you're, like, wondering if I'm dying or something because I'm taking you to lunch for the first time instead of you taking me to lunch. But I wanted to show you some gratitude for us growing our business together, right? We kind of came into the industry as babies together, and we've both grown, and we've grown substantial businesses. And I want to honor that, and I want to show you gratitude, and that's why I'm taking you to lunch today. I also wanted to be the first to tell you about something that's coming to the market, because I don't want you to be afraid of it. It's called Keller Mortgage. It's no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus $1,000 credit closing. Do you think I've said that 1,000 times? And so here's the thing. I know what you're going to say is that they're going to jack up the rate in order to do that. But we've actually looked at it, we tested it, and it's simply not true. In fact, the rates are very competitive. So I want to talk about where that leaves us. James, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you is that you're a competitor, right? So I actually see Keller Mortgage as an avenue to bring more leads into our team and our business. Well, you know, I'm required to give everybody 2 to 3 names for them to shop around. You will still be one of those. In fact, you've always been one of 3. You haven't been the only one, right? And so nothing's changing in that regard. Now, James didn't charge an origination fee. So the difference between him and Keller Mortgage was $2,500. Said, by being here, brick and mortar, can you offset the $2,500? That Miss Rose can walk into your office on the first of every month and get her checkbook out and write a check for her mortgage, which Miss Rose loves to do at James's office every first of the month. He knows he's going to see her, right? And so there's a value there. So I said, when can we sit down and go over a settlement statement together and talk about your unique value proposition so when those phone calls double, you'll have that fighting chance, and I don't see it affecting your business at all. Will you partner with me in this? Will you trust me? Will you have faith that I think you may actually see more business come out of this? And he has. How's that feel? It's so funny. We're at Keller Williams. The fact that you guys are all in an office together is that abundance mentality. There's more than enough to go around, right? In fact, I teach this class in Dallas with my competitors, right? But to me, we grow together. We all get better together, and the client is the one who wins. But suddenly we switch over to lending and title, and we're like, dig our head in the sand, and are like, la, 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 la. It doesn't have to be that way. And like I said, the MSAs that the office has, I think our office, we have 750 agents, and they got 13 transactions with their MSA. So it's not taking away from what they do. If somebody needs hand-holding, they're a first-time home buyer, maybe an older lady who is like, I don't know how to use the internet, right? Then probably they're not a fit for Keller Mortgage, who's all online and their loan officer is like in Ohio or another state, right? So that's probably not a great fit. But first-time home buyer who's barely scraping down the down payment, that would be a great first fit. Somebody who needs local assistance, so government assistance, state assistance, teacher program, firefighter program, not a great fit for Keller Mortgage. They can't fit the masses. They have to get as much approved in 50 states as they can to help most of us, right? And so although they're working on it, that's still a great opportunity for a local lender. So tons of opportunity for a local lender. Not everybody fits in the Keller Mortgage box. And if we can assure them of that, we can move forward all in our relationship.
Are they like a Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 kind of?
No. They are 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time.
That's great.
7 a.m. something like that, yeah.
Jordan, can I add one thing onto that? We had someone here in our own office that their client did not get approved within the third-party financing time. They lost half of their earnest money. They went back to Keller Mortgage and said, because you guys waited so long, if they weren't qualified at the end of it, they lost half of their earnest. They came in, spoke to a supervisor, and they spoke to their supervisor. They refunded that client's full earnest money and option money. So when the client finished, they were up half their earnest money because they had got back half their earnest money. We took that to another lender and they couldn't believe Keller Mortgage refunded that money. It's amazing, guys. They're not gonna always be perfect, but they're gonna always take care of us. And that's the biggest thing. So I was just so impressed when that happened.
That's awesome.
She's sitting in the room. That's the agent.
Okay, cool. Yes.
I have a quick question. One of the major things I've heard is primary mortgage lenders and you know, people we have in office, things like that, people we go to. What about credit unions? That's a big objection among a lot of our home buyers is, hey, I can get a sick deal for my credit union. Why should I use what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're
And
really
here's the
expensive.
thing. If they're already your buyer and they're going to use you and they have a better value at their credit bureau, awesome.
Okay.
This goal is to go get more,
Okay.
right? Those people that are going to Quicken Loans. So we actually did a study for Quicken Loans and they registered with them. Keller Mortgage, like the president and VP were playing with Quicken Loans and see how easy it was and stuff. We're like, go ahead and register with them. See what happens. In 5 minutes, they got 12 phone calls. 5 of them were from realtors who the lender had passed off to call, offering to discount their commission if they work with them. So if your clients don't think you're out there saving them money and they're going to go check against Quicken Loans, they're going to be approached by other realtors, offering to discount their commission. So it's not necessarily for your client that knows, loves, and trusts you and is going to you no matter what. Although it is a great resource for them if they don't have a better resource. If they have somebody better, awesome, high five. There's more than enough to go around. So let's talk about what's new. It's a lab. Everything in Keller Williams is like half-baked and rolled out as a lab. Isn't that so smart? Like, I don't know. We'll just see if this, we'll throw it against the wall, see what sticks, called a lab. I forgot I'm on video. Luck with a lab. It's been so excellent because we get to continue and give input. Just kidding. One of the things that people wanted was they didn't want to have to call their lender to say, hey, my client's approved for $400, but they want to offer $350 on a house, and they don't want to show that they can get $400. So they added a dial where you can go change it down to $350, hit PDF, and send it off. So then you negotiate, and let's say you end up at $360, and they say, but send me a new pre-approval letter for us to make the deal. I've had to wait sometimes until Monday to get that new pre-approval, but we agreed on Saturday, right? Now you can go into your portal, change it to 360. You can't change it to 620, right? We can't remember whatever we want. It's up to the amount that they've been approved for, but you don't have to wait on the loan officer to do that for you. You can just hit PDF, send it to the co-op agent. Yeah.
Smart.
You get Kelly notifications. We had a guy who closed a deal with Keller Mortgage on the beach. He had called his client and said, hey, I actually have a pre-scheduled vacation. Wanted to let you know. I've already looked through your settlement statement. Everything's good, etc. Right? And so he's on the beach with his wife. He gets a Kelly notification. Your loan is funded. Picks up the phone. Calls his client to say, congratulations. Did everything go okay? They said, yeah. How did you know? He's like, what do you mean, how did I know? And he's like, we're still sitting here at the closing table. So he had a Kelly notification instantly that the loan was funded, which is cool. And now you can choose your own loan officer. They didn't have that for like 2 years, and we kept saying it and kept saying it. So they finally released that. In fact, if you go into your portal, I highly recommend that you put 3 in there. Your first will always get your first, but if they, God forbid, take a day off, it goes to your second, right? And so that way they can ensure the timely response that they're getting back with your people. So steps for getting your pre-approval link, you can log into Kelly, either on your mobile device or on your cell phone. Log into Kelly and ask Kelly, show me my pre-approval link. So this will take you to your personalized portal, and it will ask you to log in with your KW user ID. Like the same thing you log into mykw.kw.com, right? So it logs you into your personal portal, and then you have to input customers' contact information and hit share. It gives you the option of just having a URL link. Take that, so go through and do this once, then take that link and save it to your phone. And that way, if a co-op agent says, how can I get my client the deal, right? Like they're calling on my listing that they're with Remax, then I can share with them the link or the loan officer contact information. But they prefer that they go through the link. So the link just ensures that it goes to the loan officers that you've chosen that will be licensed in your state and that you prefer. So that's a great way is to keep that link. You can even just go share it with yourself so you have it. Keep it in your notes. Add it to your Facebook. I actually had a friend who got pre-approved and I didn't know they were even looking, and they were like, oh yeah, I was just refinancing. But they went on my Keller Mortgage link through my Facebook and never even had a conversation with me. And I was like, dude! So for whatever reason, they're more comfortable with filling out an online form than picking up the phone and calling. So that's great. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not paid to be here. Keller Mortgage, your market center, anything like that. I'm just a nice guy, right? So here's the way you can help me. Someone told me once, your presentation is great, but people don't increase usage when you go speak to them. And I was like, watch this, right? So the way you can thank me is actually doing this, going into your portal, your pre-approval link, and share it with one person today. Because I want like an uptick in Katy, Texas, and some people are like, oh, I guess Jordan was in Katy, right? Like show him an uptick for me. That's a way that you can say thank you. That's all I ask for you to do. Let's see what's next. Okay, so at one time they left us hanging and we didn't have anybody to get a hold of, but that's changed because we're a lab. That we now have an 888 number that we can call. There's always a manager on duty that will take your calls from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 days a week. Also, there's a contact us button or an SOS, save our shit button on the customer portal. So if you just happen to be on your laptop or whatever and want to log in that way, you can, as opposed to keeping the phone number in there. Okay, so this is like you're at the closing table, your documents didn't show, the building's burning, like use this. You heard something that was counter to the appraisal being taken care of. Call that, right? Not just my client couldn't get a hold of somebody and it's been 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, make sure the building's burning before you call the 888 number. Because the more we use the 888 number, then the less it's available for emergencies. So this is really like an emergency, or if you have some time, you can hit contact us. The manager will call you when they're next available. Cool. Okay, so that's the Keller Mortgage material. Okay, go back. There we go. So I'm going to head into how we have created our own iBuying program on our team. I was at Mega Camp. I was at Family Reunion, yeah. Family Reunion, and I heard Gary say, why are we giving all of these great deals to our investors? You know, when somebody says, hey, I've been let go, we're getting divorced, something like that, like I just need to cover my mortgage, or I just want to get out. I don't want to sign in my yard, I'm embarrassed, I don't want to do it. Why are we giving these to our investors? Why aren't we taking the deals? To which my response was, because I'm not a millionaire. Like, that's super easy for you to say. And so I started thinking, okay, and we're coming across more and more of these deals as we do more business, right? So I thought, okay, if I found the deal on MLS, I could get 3% towards my 20%. Well, that's not going to be a drop in the bucket. If I found the deal myself, I could do 6%, but I've heard of people that charge 7, 8, 9%, right? We've had those people come talk to us, how do you get 9% for a listing, yada, yada, yada. But that told me then there's no cap on commission. So what if I could get 20% on commission and then just apply it to my down payment and not have a down payment?
Wow.
So I called Keller Mortgage. And they're like, you're crazy, Jordan. And so I was like, no, really, my guy's Carl. So I was like, no, really, Carl, I think this could work. So Carl was like, I don't know, let me call my boss. He's also named Carl. So I talked back to Carl.
He just changed his voice.
So I talked back to Carl, and then they called FHA, and turns out you can do it. So let's talk about how we're doing it. In fact, I just closed on one in November. So what we're talking about is the customer wants out of the house. So obstacle is the way. Y'all are seeing iBuyers. It's an issue. People are talking about it. They're wanting instant offers. What if you could make that instant offer? And say, or you could list it with me, and if we can't sell it within the time frame that you need, you can take my offer. Now you get the best of both worlds, right? Nobody out there is offering that. In fact, Zillow says if you list it, your offer goes down, right? So here's what we're doing. Customer wants out of the house without going on market. They're looking for investors. We've had one couple that was getting divorced. We've had one that their house was gross. They just had lost their job and they couldn't get back on their feet, and it was just deferred maintenance, and their cat, who was almost dead, like kept peeing in the house. It was a lot. Anyway, and then we've had one that a pastor was let go from a church in a small community, and he just was like, I'm not putting a for sale sign in my yard. I don't even want it. I'm going to do a moving truck like in the middle of the night, right? So just embarrassed. So the customer wants out of the house without going on the market, and they're looking for investors. We get this a lot. They're willing to take 80% of fair market value, which is what most investors are going to offer. Even Zillow, who offers full price, has fees involved, right? And then they're going to go do an inspection, and they're going to reduce from there. So what we do is we write the contract for full price. So let's use a $200,000 house as an example. So I'm going to write a purchase price of $200,000, and I'm going to say that I'm putting down $40,000. I'm going to write my commission for 20%. I pay title in that case. And I'm going to apply that towards my down payment. So then my loan value is going to be $160,000. If you're just wondering what that looks like on the 1 to 4. So I apply my commission towards my down payment, utilize Keller Mortgage to keep the closing cost minimal because we have no lender fees, pay title policy, change out paint and carpet. I get permission for, if it's decent enough, for the home to be set up for rent the week of closing. Like I put a sign in the yard and I start home tours from that seller. And I can't execute the contract until I legally own it though. Change out paint and carpet and rent it out. On a $200,000 home, about what can you get for rent? $1,800, $1,700? Yeah, okay. $1,800. You're gonna get first, last, and deposit, which is all $1,800. So what's 1,800 times 3? 5,400. Thank you. That was a lot of numbers, y'all. So $5,400. So let's say you paid the title policy and it ran you about $1,500. You did paint and carpet and that ran you even $10,000. You put $11,500 into a house and you got $5,400 at the day they moved in. So now you're carrying $6,000 and you've got an investment property with positive cash flow. So that's basically the same scenario with exactly the $200,000 property. Thoughts on that? It's like the whole Keller Mortgage presentation like just lost your mind, and that's all y'all are. That's every time I talk about this. Everybody's like, "Who's Keller Mortgage? Let's talk about this." Yes.
I'm glad you brought this up because actually Jay Pakistan and Ben McKinney had a talk about something to this degree, and I couldn't really understand.
Follow it.
Yeah, it was very simple.
Yeah. How do I just put my commission towards it, right? And some people do hard money loans and they're flipping, etc. Keller Mortgage prefers that you keep it for 6 months. So like we just bought a property and we're going to flip it. It's a $400,000 home. It's a little bit above what we like to rent at. And it's 45 minutes away. So we're going to rent it for 6 months and then flip it, is our goal. But they get penalized if they have to pay back, if they turn the loan turns around in less than 6 months. So they prefer you keep it for at least 6 months. The goal here is basically that you keep and hold these properties and build long-term wealth. This is also a great way for your team. So I talked to my team about what do you want to make this year, how many transactions do you want to do, how much do you want to grow your personal wealth? Because I'm stocked up. We bought 3 investment properties. My husband's thrilled. We bought 3 investment properties last year. My husband was like, pump the brakes. He said that to me on the way here. So now we're offering them to our agents to help them grow their wealth. In fact, Stephanie, who was on our team last year and that decided to be more of a stay-home mom, she got $60,000 in equity. We just got $55,000 in equity. So we talk about how much do you want to make? Like, you want to make $100,000 this year? Great. Normally, people take that 100, they pay their bills, and then they take 40 and go invest it in an investment. Well, what if you could keep the 100 and pick up the 40 in an investment somehow, right? You just have to be willing to be open to who's in a distressed situation that could need your help and be in a financial place where you can do it. Give me all the questions. Yes?
Can you go back a slide? I missed
Sure.
the previous slide.
What you're talking about are those 2 books at the very end that Gary wrote for us, which now you're bringing them to life, which is the flip and the hold. Can we help you with that?
Sure. What questions? Somebody else had their hand up over here.
No, you answered it.
Awesome, yes. Anything else, Keller Mortgage, otherwise, that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, because we're about to clear out the room, so if you have questions, do it. If you're top 20, you're gonna be able to say.
You said you need to have $40,000 in the bank account to show.
Okay, yes. So whatever you are going to get in commission in some kind of account that can be lucrative, a 401k something, you have to be able to show Keller Mortgage that even if the commission were to fall through, you could still make it the $40,000 happen.
And that can be over several accounts, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And one last question. Sorry, Jeff.
No.
How many times will Keller Mortgage let you do this?
I'm not sure what their total amount is. I want to say 6 or 7 loans that you can hold with them. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
How many? Yes.
I don't know if you said this, but did you know that your scripts are in the Keller Mortgage app?
Yeah, there's a video too of me doing the scripts. Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah, good.
This app is really cool.
Yeah.
Jordan, I was gonna ask, are you okay with me sharing your slideshow with my office? So I will share this with you guys. I won't share it on the forum, I'll share it on the forum, not on the Premier page.
Awesome. Okay.
Do we have enough?
I realize they have a situation. You're also 8% of the market value of the house. I mean, even if they're in a bad situation, that's just like hard.
So I tell him, so this gentleman asked, how do you kind of keep from offending them? Because you're going to offer them 80% of value. Totally understand what you're meaning. So I'm going in that I don't care either way. They indicated to me in the pre-qual, because we all pre-qualify our listings before we go on them. Yeah, okay, cool. So they indicated that they are interested in getting out. They're thinking about maybe open door or something like that. So I come in prepared for the conversation. I show them a net sheet if they were to sell the home as is, a net sheet if they were to fix it and sell it, and a net sheet if I were to purchase it. And I give it to them as an option, so it's not offensive. It's letting them know I offer a similar program to Open Door. I can also represent you with Open Door. So if you think you can get better with Open Door, I'm willing to get their bids as well. And we can go OfferPad through Keller Offers, Open Door, a few of those different ones, and they will actually pay me to represent you, right? And so I give them a myriad of solutions. The one that we just picked up, their home was 2 months behind in payment, and we were about to expire the listing. So it was just kind of like, listen guys, we've chased the market down, we started too high. And she's like, yeah, my husband hasn't been paying the mortgage. I'm like, oh, we're gonna go. So they were just like ready to take something.
Do you think assumptions on the improvements, like you were saying, like if they have to do some improvements, you haven't been there, maybe just going on listing qualification that you don't know.
Yeah, so I still reserve the option period, and I tell them we'll be talking about 5 major things. We'll be talking about roof, foundation, electrical, plumbing, and major appliances. If any of those are an issue, it may adjust our price. Yeah.
So you guys, can I have you give her the biggest loud round of applause again? She drove in, had to spend the night to be here for you guys, and she also drove to my house before she came here because of me. So please know that she is a wealth of knowledge and she is a blessing to us. If you are part of the top 20, we are so grateful to be in business with you at any GCI level, but the top 20, we are really going to focus on pouring into them this year. And if you're not in the top 20, we want you to see Megan and I, or our MCA, or one of the ALC members to get you on a path to be in the top 20. So if you're top 20, please stay. We're gonna be bringing lunch in here for you. If you're not, please, just take your guys' stuff. We can meet up with a member later after this, and they can help share some stuff that we're sharing with you today. But it is just now a private session for the top 20 in ALC. So thank you guys.